Hi, we're Shane and Natalie, and we're nerds.
May the force be with you.
You know, one of the things that, I don't know if you've heard this, but apparently the weeping angels are really terrifying.
No. Not really.
I don't think they're scary at all, but that was more than I would have done.
They're scary in terms of jump scare, but...
I don't even think they're scary in terms of jump scare.
They jump out at you. That gets me, but I just don't do well with jump
If
scares.
you watch a whole lot of Doctor Who, or if you, well, not if you watch it, but if you go online and if you pay attention to anything, you would hear that the weeping angels are like the scariest thing ever.
Which is just not true. It's just not. They're not that scary.
They're not that scary. They don't kill you. They don't...
They send you back in time.
They send you back in time. Okay, if you're watching Doctor Who, you're a nerd. If you're a nerd, chances are you're watching The Lord of the Rings, or you're playing board games based on, castles or something. You're spending 90% of your time fantasizing about the place and time that the angels are going to send you to live your life.
You're fascinated by the idea. You're fascinated by different areas of history, so...
In any event,
no problem.
Maybe the weeping angels are going to do some things that are a little bit sad.
They are kind
you're
of
not going to see your family. You're going to, but
they are kind of scary and
they're sending you to live a decent life, just in a different time. Well, we sat down and we said, I bet we can come up with 10 scarier bad guys in Doctor Who.
And we did.
So here we have the top 10 Doctor Who monsters that are scarier than the Weeping Angels.
This is our agreed list.
All right.
We might slightly have disagreed a little bit. But
number 10. Going all the way back. So, okay, by the way, let's put one sort of little parameter on this. We are speaking specifically about new Doctor Who. Doctor Who from the 9th Doctor on, because she hasn't seen very much of the Doctors before that. I've seen not as many as some people, but I've seen a lot more than her.
By the time I went to watch it, it wasn't on Netflix anymore.
Also, all the monsters in Doctor Who before the Christopher Eccleston ones were made out of paper mache and pipe cleaners. So...
Don't forget laundry baskets.
So, number 10. The very first Doctor Who revival episode. All the way back, Christopher Eccleston, the very first one, featured, called Rose was the name of the episode. It had a relative, not the most scary villain, but the mannequin, the plastic creatures
that would turn you into plastic.
But honestly, I don't even think they're scary because they're going to turn you into plastic. I just think that I don't even think they turn you into plastic. I think they just make a copy of you or something.
Oh, that's right. They did make a copy of Mickey. They didn't turn him into
copy of Mickey. Now I want to talk about scary villain. How about the garbage can? But they're creepy, right?
Yeah, they're creepy.
It's why they're mannequins walking around on their own.
Moving on
their own. They got no eyes, it's got that creepy kind of blank stare thing.
They're not that scary, but it's scarier than the Weeping Angels.
And then you had remember the hand?
Yes,
that was
the hand that got
disembodied hands are always pretty scary.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy.
So
they're creepier
than the Weeping Angels.
Yep.
Yeah.
So number 9
is
the Silence. They're in a bunch of episodes.
The Silence. Yeah, now, just because we need to be nerds, let's be specific here. The Silence technically doesn't refer to the aliens we're talking about.
True.
Technically refers to the religion that hated the Doctor or whatever.
But the aliens don't have a name.
No, we're talking about the kind of creepy...
That looks like if you get...
Slender Man, kind of like the alien dudes.
Fingers are long, shoot lightning at you.
Well, for the lightning...
you just can't remember they exist.
Because what's his name? The Emperor in Star Wars shoots lightning at you, but he's not scary so much as you just think he needs to take some Centrum, right? But the fingernails. I forgot about that.
It's not the fingernails. It's the fingers.
Right.
The fingers extend like an extra, and you can kind of tell that it's prosthetics, but it doesn't matter because it's still really creepy to see them.
Yeah, it's almost like those aliens are kind of like stylized versions of the stereotypical, like, here's what the person that said they were abducted by aliens says that they saw. Yeah. But in all seriousness, I wonder if that's intentional.
It might be.
Because almost like the idea is that kind of alien abduction thing is kind of like latent image of these guys.
That's an interesting idea.
For people that, for whatever reason, like they're like Guinan. They just kind of like mystically kind of remember something.
Yeah, that's an interesting notion. I hadn't thought of that. But yes, they are scarier than the Weeping Angels.
Now, the thing about the silence is you get used to them.
Yeah, they're scarier when they first show up.
They're scarier when they first show up, and you get used to them. And you know, and in all honesty, just as a quick aside, that is one of, I thought that, Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who, it was good, but Stephen Moffat, I feel like he kind of tends to wear it as welcome.
Yeah, and he likes to reuse things too much.
But the thing, I honestly thought of all the stuff I've ever seen him done, the kind of conclusion to that thing, when they defeat the Silence, I thought that was the most clever thing maybe in the entire franchise.
That was very
because that's like the only time in modern any kind of thing where I have had no idea how are they gonna do this.
That was really good.
It was done.
That had
really
an extremely satisfying ending, and then they kept bringing the Silence back.
All right, number 8 is another villain that they would be higher on the list, except they just show up so often they lose it. They lose it. Yes, too much. I got to the point, I just didn't want to see them anymore.
Yeah.
The Cybermen.
The first time they show up in New Who, when they're in that alternate universe, they're really creepy.
They just come at you and you can't do anything about it.
There's nothing you can do to stop them.
And then they turn you into a Cyberman. And there's something very scary and disturbing about that kind of loss of self.
Yeah, that visceral reaction to the idea that you can't exist anymore except as this disembodied brain is really disturbing.
One of the things that I didn't like all that much most of the last season of Peter Capaldi with Bill, but
they managed to make the Cybermen scary again.
The Cybermen in that one were actually pretty good.
That was the first time the Cybermen had been scary since very early.
So the Cybermen, though, I'd much rather get attacked by a Weeping Angel and then have to become like a, farmer in some...
During the Great Depression?
I feel like I'm thinking more like the 1800s. Then be turned into a brain inside of a toaster. It's just, it's much scarier.
Yes. So number 7 is the monster from the lodger.
Now, I don't think it was a monster. It was like a computer.
I thought it...
Remember, because it was like a ship.
That's right. It was the ship, this computer that was trying to get a pilot.
But that's one of those things where the main thing that's scary about it is how you never see it.
Yes.
You see these kind of, like the lines in the ceiling and stuff that the way that those are presented is kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
And then you have this long, dark hallway up this thing.
And then this shadowy figure that you can't ever see the face on.
And then the people go up there and then they just disappear.
Scream, yeah.
And it's just kind of like,
that level of mystery.
That's scary.
Yeah.
The mystery. There's a number of on this list where it's the mystery.
That's a pretty common theme for us it's the mystery of you don't know what's going on.
But it is you're right, the shadowy, the kind of dark lighting.
The backlighting on the
and all that you see of it in terms of beyond just the thing itself is the effects, like the kind of dark kind of lines in the ceiling, which is kind of creepy itself. Yeah. So the creature in the lodger, or it turns out to be a computer, the ship, but you don't know that.
No.
It's one of those things where, in hindsight, it's not as scary as it was. And that's maybe why it's not higher on the list.
Yeah, because once you know what it is, rewatching the episode, it's not that scary anymore. But it still was fairly creepy the first time we watched it.
Yeah. Okay. So number 6 is the Vashta Narada from The Silence in the Library and The Dead Forest.
Yes.
2-parter. Pretty. I think you find these worse than me.
Yes, I would have probably put these a little higher on the list, but because this list is an amalgamation of both of us, it ended up where it is. The element of you can't tell where the Vashta Narada are is incredibly creepy.
See, to me, the creepiest thing and the scariest thing about that episode is like when they eat the person and then he's like a skeleton.
That's also creepy.
And then he's kind of like.
The Vashta Narada are like controlling.
But then he keeps, because they had that thing with the spacesuit where you keep hearing the person's like disembodied voice.
Yes, that is really.
That's scary. That's not strictly speaking the monster.
No, that is the Vashta Narada.
Well, not the.
Well, they're the ones making it walk around.
Yes, but. So scary. They can kill you. They
strip you to the bone in half.
Don't see it coming.
Yeah.
Way worse than you have to live in the time of Captain Nemo. No, Captain Nemo would be who am I thinking of? Who's the guy? Is it Captain? No, Captain Ahab. Is that Moby Dick?
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. All right, Herman Melville, less scary than the Vashta Narada. All right.
Number 5 is the aliens from the waters of Mars.
Yes, that was a really creepy one.
That episode is so good and so creepy.
Yep.
It's creepy in a good way, though.
I don't remember a whole lot about that one personally, but I remember it's really scary.
I've rewatched
as he's kind of going. He's going through like the base, right, and it's like dark, and he's alone, and it's just you're hearing stuff, right, and you're seeing there's all this tension that you think it's gonna get him, but you can't see it.
Part of the tension with that episode is that it's the water itself. If you get touched by the water, you're infected by these aliens, and they need to keep them from getting to Earth. Part of actually what works with this episode, though, too, is a little bit of it is also the Time Lord triumphant when when the 10th Doctor kind of gives into his crazy side a little bit, which is part of actually what they're not. It didn't end up on this list, but the Time Lord triumphant is actually also pretty scary. When he just decides he doesn't care about the rules, he's just going to do what he wants. The 10th Doctor can be pretty terrifying.
So the creatures in the waters of Mars.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 4, Satan.
The literal devil.
Like, actually, Satan.
From the episode Satan's Pit, which was, I believe, 10 and Rose.
I don't remember who. No, it was 10.
It was 10.
It was
definitely with Rose.
They were 10. But it's Satan. Okay.
And the random writing that would appear on people randomly, that was really creepy.
Right. And it's drawing on all this. That's one of these things. Okay, so it's scary because it's drawing on all of these
primal
things
instincts.
that people, these things that people are, at the very least, kind of programmed naturally to fear. Mm-hmm. People that's the kind of stuff that we see. Whether you're a very religious person, so you kind of are scared of it from that standpoint, or even if you're just kind of like a secular person, but that whole
notion is still there.
Occult thing is scary.
It's still there. It's still frightening.
And look, actually, for David Tennant's Doctor Who, right? Mm-hmm. These special effects, when you actually see Satan in that, are really good. Pretty scary. He's really terrifying.
Most of the effects in his seasons can be kind of so-so, but that one was
They
terrifying.
Not only made him, like, it's actually Satan, but he's, like...
scary.
It's like you're watching, like, Godzilla versus Satan. He's, like, 5 stories tall, and he's just...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's terrifying.
It really is.
Much scarier than
the Weeping Angels.
Guys, Satan, scarier than angels. Just...
Who would have thunk it?
All right.
So number 3, would be the creatures from the episode Listen during Capaldi's run.
Yes. So, honestly, I had a very hard time where to put these. I think that, although I completely am okay with our number 2, I could have easily put this at number 2. Because
I probably would have moved these a little lower.
These ones, to me, were really scary, because this is the thing where he goes to the end of the universe, and they're in this, like, space capsule, and, like, Danny Pink's and great grandchild thing is there, and the Doctor is convinced that there are, or has this idea that there are these creatures that have always existed in the shadows, always been kind of around, and you've never seen them, always watching your every move. That's freaky in itself. And now there's nothing else left in the whole universe
except
just
this one
you
person
and them, and they're outside, and they want to get inside, and it's just the door, right? That's really scary. That's way scarier than anything that you could possibly put on screen that could come after you. Like an honorable mention, for example, all right, is the Vincent and the Doctor monster, right? Mm-hmm. When you finally see it, it's kind of scary. But before you see it, it's a lot scarier.
Yeah, the reason it's scary is because you can't see it. You don't know where it is.
Yes. So the creatures from Listen, like, I would not rewatch the episode because I just think it's really terrifying. Mm-hmm. It's very terrifying in the way that it could be real. Not the exact thing.
But it's got that
the idea.
Element. Yeah.
It's very, very, disturbing.
Yes.
Number 2 is, are you my mommy?
No, it's, are you my mommy?
So from the episode The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances is one of the Eccleston episodes. And those face masks, gas masks.
The gas mask. I can't look at gas masks anymore. They're too creepy.
Really creepy.
Yeah.
That's one that, at least for me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you'll ever rewatch. You've never been willing
I don't
to
know.
rewatch
That one's not so scary. I wouldn't watch it. I don't mind that. I like Christopher Eccleston's Doctor a lot. I like those initial things, mm-hmm. but I also feel that the production quality and everything about the show in that first season is just kind of low quality. It's like, it's good.
They were operating on they had about twice the budget that they had in the original in the original run of Doctor Who.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean...
they still had a really small budget.
So it's not to criticize them exactly, but mm-hmm. it's just, it doesn't draw you... it's not shiny enough to draw me in again, basically. Mm. And also, the writing and just mm-hmm. kind of it's a little bit forced, kind of over the top. Every series in its first season or two is usually lower quality. Yeah. And that's fine, but that's all that it is.
Yeah.
But the episode was really good.
Yeah.
And the creatures and a little, mm-hmm. Look, general rules of scary things, right? Little children, if they're not just like regular little children, but they're creepy, it's really scary.
Yes.
Right?
If you take little children and you make them the bad guys, there's something psychologically deeply terrifying about it.
I just think that just the way that it's just gas masks, but just the look is scary.
Yes. Just covering the face up like that because the entire episode is dark. It's never during the daytime. It's always at night.
Yeah,
which helps lend to the creep.
The gas mask people. We could talk about that for a long time, but mm-hmm. those guys way worse mm-hmm. than the Weeping Angels. All right. So,
number 1.
Before we do number 1, a couple that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So we already mentioned the one that I mentioned that we'd already mentioned. I don't remember what it was.
Unfortunately, not either.
Well, so the spider creature
from the episode from Donna Noble's first episode.
Yep. Also,
the Santa robots would show up multiple times in Christmas ones.
The Santa robots, the Minotaur, and more specifically, just the entire atmosphere
of the
of
maze.
of that kind of God complex episode.
Mm-hmm. That was very creepy.
In Time Heist with Peter Capaldi, the alien that melts your brain is kind of scary.
Yes. Yes, that one was very scary.
And then Cassandra. Also, you don't remember Cassandra?
Yes, the talking trampoline.
All right.
I don't know if she was actually a villain, though.
What did she put in?
So, number 1.
I give to you as the president air from my lungs.
Moisturize me.
All right.
Okay, number 1. The scariest monster in Doctor Who.
Yes.
Is the creature from Midnight.
From Midnight. You have no idea what it is.
I will not rewatch this episode.
Never see it.
It gave me nightmares the first time I saw it. I will not rewatch this episode. It's so creepy.
It is. It is.
It takes what you talked about in Listen and makes it 20 times worse.
I remember the first time I saw that, and this was I was hearing all this stuff about the Weeping Angels. I think this one is either actually right before or right after the first Weeping Angels episode too.
No, because this is it's after the Weeping Angels, because it was when Donna was companion, and the Weeping Angels the first time the Weeping Angels show up is with Martha.
I don't think so.
Yes. Blink is with Martha.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm right.
Either way, that one's really scary, and it's the fact that you can't see it. And it's the atmosphere that they build up.
Oh my gosh. The lighting, the acting, it's phenomenal.
The mystery, it's never resolved.
That's the worst part of it. You never find out what it was.
Now, the thing about that is maybe one of these episodes that came about because of a fortunate sort of, I don't know if happenstance is the right word.
Lack of budget?
Well, yeah. So and I forget if it was lack of budget or some other thing about scheduling, but that was a series of 2 episodes where what they were doing
is... It's only 1 episode.
Nope, they did 1 episode where they basically didn't have the Doctor.
Oh, that's right. There was a Doctor Light and the Companion Light episode.
And so that's similar actually to Blink.
Yeah, Blink is Doctor Light.
Was to try to do that. So
yeah.
With this one,
Donna's not really.
They didn't have Donna. Looks like they were trying to do just a really kind of constrained episode where a bottle show. You're just in that train the whole time. You're not seeing other stuff. And it works really well because it kind of forced them to do something maybe that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
But it works. It was terrifying. Legitimately terrifying.
So that is 10
Doctor Who
monsters that are much scarier
than the Weeping
Angels. All right. Well, let us know what you think. And if you think that there is another monster that would be more scary, then let us know. Or maybe you think the Weeping Angels are actually super terrifying and you would never be able to be without, instant pancakes. Then it's just, I can understand where you're coming from. Okay. We'll do more of these lists. If there's a topic that you would like to see us
do our top 10 on.
Do our top 10.
Some of them we might do combined top 10s.
Or bottom 10.
Some of them we might do top 10. Some of them we might do combine like this. Other times we might each have our own.
Yeah, maybe if she's wrong, then I won't.
No.
Have to. All right.
I'm right. Blink is with Martha. I'm right. You're going to look it up and you're going to find out I'm right.
Bye.
Bye. I'm still right.